If we are one, how do we achieve true oneness with all that is? How do we cultivate practices that break down the perceived barriers between oneself and the rest of existence, revealing a sense of unity and interconnectedness with all life and the universe itself? How do we access this oneness through intention, presence, compassion, and a shift in consciousness toward deep acceptance and awareness? In our last episode, we discussed the very important question that many spiritual beings who are awakening to their true identity are asking themselves. What is my mission? What is my purpose on this earth, in this life, at this time? We discussed ways and methods of attaining this insight and how we can actually recognize it when the revelation appears. But if we are one, how do we, in the midst of our ongoing earthly dramas and the inevitable world changes taking place, consciously connect with this oneness, this unity consciousness? What is the journey we must all take as souls to achieve those lofty heights and become the true ascended beings and spiritual masters that we have all heard so much about? How do we rise to that awakened state when we know that we are once and for all one with all that is? Hi, I'm Daryl T. Johnson, a musician, a teacher, and a QHHT hypnosis practitioner. I'd like to welcome all of you to episode 11 of If We Are One. Hello everyone. Thank you all for being here and for just plain being. In this episode, I want to delve more deeply into the understanding of who and what we are as soul, and what our journey in this lifetime and beyond is truly all about. Why are we even here having these experiences in the first place? Just as a reminder, remember that we do not have a soul. We are soul. Also, our body does not contain the soul. The soul consciousness creates the body. So what is the journey of soul and how do we awaken? To get a much better understanding of this process of spiritual evolution, I would like to start by sharing something with you called the Soul Cycle Revelation Awakening. Expressed through a group consciousness known as Bashar and channeled by Darryl Anka, this awakening refers to a spiritual framework that views the soul's journey as a succession of evolutionary stages culminating in awakening or enlightenment, often termed Revelation Awakening. This awakening represents the final step in soul's evolution, where an individual realizes a deep unity with all existence and transcends ego-based identity. Spiritual traditions describe 5 main soul cycles: infant soul, child soul, young soul, mature soul, and old soul. Through each cycle, the soul gradually evolves by gathering life experiences, learning lessons, and deepening awareness. Each stage is associated with specific traits and perspectives. For example, infant souls focus on survival, while old souls seek spiritual truths. The path is not strictly linear. Spiritual growth is often cyclical, with periods of stagnation, followed by renewal. From a psychological perspective, the concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs holds a strong correlation to this soul revelation awakening process. Just to recap, Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains how human motivation progresses through levels, starting with basic survival needs, and advancing to self-actualization, and ultimately spiritual growth or self-transcendence. It starts with physiological needs, basic requirements such as food, water, shelter, and sleep that form the foundation, often demanding attention before any other pursuits. Then safety needs. That encompasses personal security, health, financial stability, and protection from harm. Next, love and belonging, which involves forming meaningful relationships, experiencing social acceptance, and feeling connected within a community. Esteem needs comes next, referring to self-worth, accomplishment, recognition, and respect from others. Then there's self-actualization, the drive to fulfill one's potential, pursue personal growth, and engage in creative or fulfilling activities. Finally, we come to self-transcendence, spiritual growth. Added later by Maslow, this stage represents the desire for connection with something greater than oneself and a quest for ultimate meaning, often framed as spiritual awakening or fulfillment. Now, from a spiritual point of view, Maslow proposed that the journey towards spiritual growth begins after satisfying fundamental needs. As individuals progress up the pyramid, they become increasingly capable of exploring meaning, altruism, and spiritual connection. Self-actualization, a realization of one's fullest potential, often incorporates spiritual elements, such as seeking deeper purpose or experiencing moments of transcendence. The connections are quite notable and very compelling. So back to Revelation Awakening. This is the progression beyond the old soul stage, sometimes called the final reincarnation or the awakened soul. This awakening involves profound spiritual work, deep self-realization, and the transcendence of selfish material pursuits. It's marked by the recognition of one's true nature, pure awareness or consciousness, and the merging into oneness with the universe. Old souls and awakened souls realize the interconnectedness of all existence and live with wisdom, compassion, and an abiding sense of peace. It's important to mention here that awakening is a gradual, ongoing process rather than a single event. Individuals often experience stages, dissatisfaction, questioning beliefs, otherwise known as divine discontent, initiating change, inner transformation, and eventual transcendence. The journey is persistent, with spiritual insights continually unfolding over time as one integrates them into daily life. Remember, just understanding something does not mean that you know it yet. You have to internalize it, use it, live it, and have it become a part of you. This soul cycle revelation awakening is a conceptual framework describing the soul's evolving journey through various stages toward a final unity and awakening where spiritual truth and interconnectedness become fully realized. This process of understanding parallels another very intriguing journey, which I briefly mentioned in an earlier episode, that of the hero's journey. Now, what is the hero's journey, and how does it relate to spirituality? The hero's journey is a literary tool found in many fictional and non-fictional writings. It is a universal story pattern describing a protagonist's adventure, transformation, and return. And it closely relates to spirituality as a metaphor for personal and soul-level transformation. Coined by Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey has 3 main stages: departure, initiation, and return. The journey begins with a call to action, a call to adventure, where the hero leaves the ordinary world for the unknown, much like soul's journey from the spiritual realm into the physical reality. During initiation, the hero faces trials, gains wisdom, confronts inner and outer challenges, and undergoes transformation. Apotheosis, or spiritual expansion, occurs as the hero achieves a higher consciousness or enlightenment. Finally, in the return, the transformed hero brings newfound understanding and gifts back to their community or original world. The hero's journey is seen as a spiritual template for soul's evolution and awakening. Spiritually, the cycle mirrors a seeker's quest for meaning, the struggle with ego, and the discovery of deeper truths. Encountering darkness, death, and rebirth on the journey symbolizes shedding old limitations and awakening to higher awareness. The stages reflect spiritual trials, surrender, gaining wisdom, and ultimately experiencing unity or oneness. Much like described in Revelation Awakening or Soul Cycles. Remember, everything that we experience here in physical reality has, by definition, a spiritual significance, a symbolic meaning. Our job is to identify the meaning and incorporate it into our spiritual existence. The spiritual hero's journey emphasizes that personal transformation benefits not just the individual, but their wider community, symbolizing spiritual service and compassion. The hero's journey provides a powerful map for understanding spiritual growth, portraying the journey from separation through trial and transformation to awakened return and service. It is here that I want to remind you of something that I said very early in this podcast, specifically in episode 2. It is this: you and I and everyone and everything are all that is. Because all that is all there is. There is nothing that exists outside of it. So in order for God's source to gain experience, expansion, and enlightenment, it created unique individual expressions of itself so as to have individual and collective experience. We are those individual expressions. We create the experience of omniscient understanding for source. Again, consider your own process of learning, of knowing. There is the moment when you are introduced to a new idea, a new concept, when it is explained to you for the first time. You usually have an intellectual understanding of what this concept may be, but does that mean that you know it yet? Have you actually made it a part of your knowing experience? Probably not. For there is intellectual understanding and there is knowingness. This knowingness can only be attained through actual experience of putting it into practice, doing the work, making the mistakes, learning from the mistakes, and becoming wiser as a result. It's where the rubber meets the road. So, to bring this full circle, in order for all that is to gain knowing experience, it created us so that we could have the opportunity to create these experiences. We are God's source, literally in action. We are the data points, the data sets of understanding and practical application that expands all that is in consciousness. We are the all and the one simultaneously. As I have stated to you many times and will continue to do so, we live in eternity. We will never die. Moreover, as a unique spark of the divine, we will always attain oneness from our unique perspective. If you, in your journey back home to Source, decide to become all that is in its eternity and its entirety, you will do so from your unique perspective. You will lose nothing and you will gain everything. So the journey of soul for all of us as a spark of God Source is the process of being created by Source, then volunteering to move our divine omniscience into practical and unique application so as to gain actual experience of this all-knowing state of being. As human beings, we place this omniscient, omnipotent quality of self in a state of temporary amnesia so as to start from a clean slate of knowing nothing and discover our true power and connection to Source through trial, tribulation, and mistakes that transform into learning opportunities, eventually awakening into who and what we always were, divine, powerful aspects of all that is itself. We are it, and it is us. We represent the ultimate example of the hero's journey. The concept of the hero's journey is deeply intertwined with the spiritual drama we humans face today, as it reflects our collective path through struggle, transformation, and ultimately enlightenment. Rising to the moment as spiritual beings involves embracing the challenges of these volatile times, surrendering the ego, and integrating the wisdom gained from personal trials into our lives for the benefit of others. The stages of the hero's journey directly parallel the spiritual journey, beginning with a call to adventure or awakening, followed by a departure from the familiar, enduring trials and ordeals, and returning transformed with new wisdom. Spiritually, this path requires letting go of separateness, ego, and old beliefs masked as certainty, enduring a death of the old self, and embracing a rebirth into a higher consciousness. This process cultivates humility, compassion, and a deeper sense of connectivity, both within oneself and the world. So as spiritual beings having a human experience, it is now time for all of us to step into the moment. It is time to answer that inner call to deeper awareness, often triggered by discomfort, loss, or the realization that old patterns no longer serve you. We need to seek wisdom through reflection, study, and mentorship, and question previous beliefs to awaken to a larger spiritual reality. We need to embrace surrender and transformation. Lasting change requires letting go of attachments and accepting uncertainty. We have to start integrating newfound enlightenment by returning to everyday life with a renewed sense of purpose, sharing insights, and serving as an inspiration for others. So, enlightenment in this context involves not only personal awakening, but the collective upliftment reached through humility, embracing both the order and disorder of life, and ultimately unifying these aspects within. The journey does not end in isolation. The hero must return, embody their wisdom, and act for the well-being of their community, for the good of the whole. Each individual's process of self-discovery and transformation contributes to societal awakening, serving as a guiding light for others traversing darkness. The transformative spiritual drama of our time calls on every person to embark on their own personal hero's journey. Courageously confront challenges, transcend limitations, live and pursue your highest excitement and passions, and compassionately uplift those around them. In rising together, we can all move towards a shared spiritual enlightenment, fulfilling both the deepest personal and collective destinies of us all. We'll be talking more about these and other topics in future installments. And if there is anything that you would like for me to discuss, or questions that you may have about anything that I've shared, please feel free to mention it by leaving a question or comment in the comments section. As always, if you have found any of this information at all helpful or enlightening, please like, subscribe, and share with others. I more and more see new people coming to this space, and I thank you so much for being a part of this ongoing movement to a oneness consciousness. We're coming up on the holiday season, so I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you again in the next episode. So again, I send you my love. And as always, if we are one, let us all live in peace.